I get upgraded more than most cruise passengers because I don't use the most common ways other cruisers use to chase upgrades. I do something different. Welcome aboard, I'm Gary Bembridge, and here's what I found works to get upgraded to a better cabin than I've paid for. The first thing most do, and the one I hear more horror stories about than any other, is by accepting an auto upgrade, including my own. In early cruising days, I had huge excitement of being upgraded from a balcony cabin that we'd carefully chosen on P&O Aurora into a higher grade cabin, and it put a dampener on our cruise, as I'll explain. Now, when booking a cruise, we all have the option of accepting an auto upgrade. If the line has empty cabins, they often move people like us who've said that they will accept auto upgrades up 1 or 2 cabin grades, for example, as we were. Now, this frees up for the cruise line lower grade cabins, which are actually easier to sell and fill than higher grade cabins. There are 3 really big watch outs with auto upgrades, as I discovered. First of all, the default setting when booking a cruise is usually accepting an auto upgrade. You must opt out if you don't want one. We didn't. Second, we found you have no say in the cabin the cruise line moves you to. In our case, it was above a noisy late night club, but it could have been below a pool deck with scraping chairs, have a strange layout, or an interconnecting door to the next cabin where we could hear our neighbors, and so on. Thirdly, even though we didn't like the new cabin, we couldn't have the original one back because it had been resold or perhaps someone had been upgraded into it. Since then, I have always opted out of auto upgrades. The next usual way passengers get upgrades is simply by paying. I watch people go to guest services as soon as they board to see if the ship has any empty cabins and are offering passengers upgrades. On at least 4 of my last 5 cruises, I've seen numerous passengers upgrade this way, often for what sounds like pretty small amounts per day. Now, an advantage with this approach over the previous one is you usually get to view and choose your cabin before accepting the upgrade. Now, my tip is actually to go on the second day, because by then the ship knows the numbers of no-shows, and cabins that are vacated by those who've upgraded, they're now free, and upgrades tend to be cheaper. The third popular approach is bidding. Several cruise lines give the option to bid for an upgrade, usually between 60 and 90 days before departure. They send out emails asking for submissions. I've had them from Norwegian Cruise Line, Azamara, Royal Caribbean, and Celebrity. I have never done any of these bids because, first of all, I could not choose a specific cabin I get. So again, it may not be in a great location. And second, I could not accept or reject any cabin, and they would charge my credit card as soon as they accept my bid. Now, I've heard people getting carried away as well and bidding more than if they'd simply gone and changed their booking to a better cabin directly. So check the current price for that higher cabin before bidding, and actually I recommend bid low because there may actually just be very few bids. The other really common way passengers use to get upgrades is by booking a guaranteed fare. A guaranteed fare means booking a cabin grade inside ocean view, balcony or suite, and not a specific cabin. The cruise line allocates you a cabin close to sailing. Now, on most lines, it is a cheaper option than choosing your own cabin. You could find you get a better grade cabin this way. For example, on Holland America New Statendam I've been on recently, there are 5 grades of balcony cabins, and you might be allocated the very best grade of all. If many on your sailing book a very specific cabin and they've opted out of auto upgrades, the best grades may be the only ones that the line can actually put you in. Now, I've seen passengers allocated cabins way above the guaranteed grade that they've booked, so a balcony instead of an ocean view or a suite instead of a balcony. Many of the downsides, though, of the other approaches apply to this way of getting upgrades. Now, if you book a guaranteed inside or ocean view, this actually, though, could work to your advantage because these, again, are the easiest cabins for lines to sell as they're least expensive. If a cruise is not full, they may upgrade you to a balcony cabin as they know they can much more easily resell inside and ocean view cabins. So those are the ways most passengers use to get an upgrade. I don't use them. What exactly do I do? The first one is simple but takes planning. I simply book when there are upgrade promotions. This is when the line is offering you pay for a lower grade and get a better cabin. So for example, I recently booked a Regent 7-Sea Caribbean cruise where I got a cabin 2 grades up from what I paid for based on the usual price. A good time to find these promotions are when itineraries are launched. So if there's a cruise you really want to do and it's maybe 18 months, 2 years plus, as soon as those itineraries come on sale, look for these kinds of promotions. Secondly, I found about 90 to 60 days before a cruise, this is when final payment is due for most cruises. And if the ship is not full, promotions like this one is a tool that they like to use to encourage bookings. Thirdly, a really good time is during wave season, usually at the start of the year, or Black Friday towards the end. These are big sale periods with lots of competition by all the lines for our bookings, and this is one of the really popular promotions I found at these times. The way I found out, by the way, about these promotions is usually through the cruise line email newsletters, so sign up for those. Now, while this technique has been very successful at snagging me upgrades, the next one is the one that has got me more upgrades than any other technique. This is fare tracking. When I book a cruise, I set up a price tracker, which I've spoken of before, on a site called cruisewatch.com or cruisecritic.com. I have a blog post, by the way, where I explain how to do that, which is linked in the notes of this video. Those trackers alert me if fares on the cruise have fallen, and if they have, I either ask the line for the lower fare or for an upgrade. I've had huge success with this, especially in getting upgrades. Through this, I've recently been upgraded on Cunard Queen's Grill from an entry suite to a penthouse, and on Viking from a balcony into a suite, and there's many other examples. The watch out, though, is it does take some work and negotiation too, because some lines are more willing than others. The next one has also led to upgrades, but is not necessarily a good thing. This is through complaining. Not from being difficult and chancing my arm, but when I have an issue with the cabin that I feel is affecting my cruise and needs to be addressed, this works. I believe this works especially because I believe there are cabins the line seems quick to move passengers from when you raise an issue. I've had a series of better cabins and upgrades through complaints. For example, I was on a Silversea expedition cruise in Antarctica where I had some problems with a noise from some machinery underneath me. I was moved after discussing it from an ocean view cabin into a balcony cabin. I had an issue on my Ponant La Lyriel cruise. There was rattling air conditioning. It disturbed me constantly during the night. They couldn't fix it, and again I was moved to a better grade of cabin. On a recent Azamara cruise, I had dragging and scraping above me in the early hours. Now when I went to guest services, the manager knew off the top of his head that my cabin was below a work area. When he made a note, it was onto a page listing of other cabins where people had already also come to complain. They moved me to a better cabin without noise within the hour. I genuinely believe that the line knows which cabins have issues, and if you're in one of those and raise the issue, they know it's genuine and they move you to a better cabin if the ship is not full. Another technique which has worked for me is special events. When I got married, we booked a Queen Mary 2 transatlantic crossing for our honeymoon. Our travel agent let the line know that we were going on our honeymoon, and we were upgraded to a fabulous penthouse suite. The agent has good relationships with the cruise line, makes many bookings for them, and so was able to get us on an upgrade list because she has influence. So if you have a big event coming up, especially a wedding, let the line know. It's not going to work for birthdays, and I've not heard it working for anniversaries much, but give it a go. As worst case, they will upgrade the experience on board, perhaps with champagne, cakes, decorations, and maybe some other added perks like specialty dining. Remember that, as with airlines, the lines will tend to give upgrade priority to frequent travelers. If you really like a line and plan to sail with them often, and do sail with them more often, you're going to have leverage. Check if the loyalty program for that line offers fare discounts as you progress up the tiers. Now, many of them tend to offer booking discounts or even free nights as you move up tiers, which you can then use to effectively upgrade by paying the same fare as you would have, but actually you're going to get a better cabin. So for example, we are Diamond on Cunard, and we get discounts now when booking, which helps us nudge up grades every single time. If you found this interesting, why not watch this video about how to get the best and avoid the worst cabins on a ship, starting with the one simple thing I do that pretty much guarantees the best cabins without paying anything more. See you over there.